Right, hey everybody, Joy Bowen here, and we are so excited for tonight's call. Michelle's like, I'll be back on in 5 minutes. She's got someone else that she's dealing with. Okay, so we are super excited about tonight's call. Launi is going to share a little bit about how she evaluated her social media, what prompted her to do that. But before we kind of get into the nitty gritty of that, there are a few announcements that I just want to make sure everybody has. And I don't have fancy slides because I was being a mom and a mom flying solo at that. So y'all bust out your pen and paper and make sure you make some notes because there's some important information for you tonight. I wanted to do just a really brief recap. After our mastermind group, we talked about the flow of the month, and we're going to change something just a little bit moving forward. In that, the first week of the month on Monday, we're going to have a team huddle, except for the first week of April, we have a super special guest. Alana Molstein is going to be speaking to the rock stars exclusively about To Be Mindset. Kristen! And so I want you guys to mark your calendar. She is going to be speaking on April 3rd at 5 o'clock Central. So that's a different day and a different time, but we had to like flex for her schedule. And you definitely are going to want to be on the call. I was invited to like a little leadership preview call, and it was super helpful to hear from her. And then the second week of the month, we have on that Monday our Leaders and Influencers Mastermind call. The third Monday of the month is what I call our Big Five call. It's from our 5-star and above leaders. So that's always a big call. And then the fourth week, we're going to do the Rock the Basics of your business. So we just kind of flip the first and fourth week. So first week is Team Huddle. Second week is the Mastermind group. Third, and the Mastermind call is by invitation only. You have to be on the Leaders or Influencers board for the month of March to be invited to the call on April. The third Monday of the month is the Big Five call. Fourth week of the month, we do the Rock the Basics of your business event in our team page. Whew. Okay, Super Sunday is coming up on April 8th here in Texas. You can check out the FAQ for locations near you. I know they're everywhere across the whole nation and abroad. But that's where you're going to learn more information about To Be Mindset. You're going to learn more about the new, the code name is Maverick from Joel Freeman. I've heard word on the street is it's going to be a program that is like 19 minutes. Like the workouts are going to be 19 minutes. It's going to be geared toward like super busy executive, like kind of people who just like don't have time. He's basically going to show them that, yes, you do, and we're going to get it done in 19 minutes. And I always kind of feel like the shorter the workout, the harder it is. So Joel's going to hurt us a little bit, I'm sure. But I'm excited. I love Joel. Okay. Also, wanted to make sure you guys knew, I posted in our team page the kind of the breakdown of all the different options for beach bars. Beach bars go live next week. I'm so excited for you guys to taste them because like we got to experience them at Leadership last year. They were delicious. And then Andrew brought 2 more home from NLC. And of course I ate them both. They are delicious. So somebody asked the question on our team page, like what is the PV associated with the different options? And that is super important to know. A standalone box, which is 15 bars, is 30 PV. The 2 carton bundle, which would be 30 bars, is 60 PV. So like if you have any inactive coaches on your team who you are trying to re-engage, that 2-pack bundle will make them active again. And then the 3 carton bundle is 90 PV. So that's good to know. More options, and they are so stinking delicious. And I figured that like the 3-carton bundle gives you like 1.5 bars a day for the month. And I have 2 teens in my house. So like, I don't think they're even going to last the month. I think they'll only last like half a month in our house, but we'll find out. Okay. So we got beach bars. The March Success Club reward is with my friend John Acuff. I love John. Like, he used to do a lot of stuff with Orange. And so like he actually has hung out at a retreat with us. So I've gotten to like hang out with him personally, and he's such a great guy, you guys. So like when you hit Success Club, you're going to be, invited to a call with John Acuff, who, if you don't know who he is a best-selling author. And so he's going to be doing our leadership call for Success Club. Then the last there's 2 more super important announcements. One is the Success Club party at Summit. So in order to receive an invitation to the party, you have to hit Success Club in March and April with a combined point total between those 2 months of 20 points. So you can get just 6 points in March and then 14 points in, did I do the math right? I sure did. 14 points in April, and you'll get an invitation, and you can bring a guest with you. So if you receive an invitation to the party, which is always super fun, you get to bring a guest, which is awesome. And then the last thing is that we do have a special price for Summit tickets. So right now, through the end of March, they offered another promotion where you can get your Summit ticket for only $155, which is crazy. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, I already know I've been getting some popcorn messages about how some of you are like rooming up together to save money. So that's going to be super fun. And we have some pretty big announcements this week, which I think you guys are going to be so excited about. I've had to like keep my lips sealed, but I think we're finally going to be able to release some information about some fun team only things that we are doing at Summit. So hang tight for that. I can't announce it yet, but I'm hoping maybe tomorrow. Okay. I think that's all for the announcements. So I want to kick it over to Launi. And Launi, before you get into the meat of your call, I'm going to do like a little interview on you for a second. I'm unmuting you. Unmute. There you are. So tell me a little bit about, I know most people here on the call know you, but if they're watching the recording, they probably are not going to know your story. So can you take just a few minutes and share your story before we dive into the call?
Sure. Okay. I am a 5th grade teacher. I live in Locust Grove, Oklahoma, which is about an hour east of Tulsa. And I live on a working farm. And last year I had just been feeling blah, and I had been into health and fitness pretty much all my life, played softball all the way through college, and I had just let myself get out of shape. And I was taking tests for teaching and all that, and I just thought, this is the way life is in late 30s, I guess. I'm just supposed to be like this. This is how it is. I'm just going to stay where I'm at, and I'm not going to buy any bigger pants. But my pants were getting tighter. And one of my friends reached out to me, and she said, hey, I heard that you were interested in maybe doing a challenge with me or being a coach. And I was like, yeah, tell me about it. This sounds awesome. I love the idea of it being all online, because we live pretty far out. So if I drive to the nearest good gym, it's going to take me at least 30 minutes. And then 30 minutes back, that's an hour out of my life just to get to the gym. And I'm like, I have 2 young kids. I just can't do that. My job right now is them. And so I joined the first 7-day challenge, and she was under Joy, and I loved it. I was like, oh my goodness, the muffin top is already going down. I can see it. So I was so excited, and I was like, yeah, sign me up for the next one. And then Joy reached out to me, and she was asking me all the questions, and then she said, what would you want to be a coach? And I was like, geez, I didn't think she was ever going to ask. I was like, yes, I want to be a coach. I want to tell all my friends about this and my family. They're going to love it. And the ones pretty much that jumped on with me, they are still rocking it and still in it today. And seeing their transformations just keeps me pushing forward. And some, come and go, but for the most part, they're all jumping in as well. And it's fun. I really enjoy it. And so I've been in since the end of May, and I'm still here.
Now, a big part of your story that I love for all the new coaches to hear who are debating going to Summit is that within 30 days of signing up, you decided, well, actually, Michelle kind of twisted your arm maybe just a little bit, but you decided to take a leap of faith and go to Summit, even though you hadn't been a coach for, I think, less than 2 months for sure.
Yes, what was that? Like the second week of June, maybe third week of June, I signed up as a coach, and Summit was like second week of July, I think, somewhere in there. And it was in New Orleans, and Michelle and I think signed up pretty much right at the same time. And she said she was going, and I was like, well, she's a new coach. And so she said, hey, are you going to go? And I thought, well, maybe. So I talked to my husband about it, and I called my mom, and my mom was loving that I had jumped into all this. And she had a heart attack a few years back. So she's like pushing me, go for it, to learn everything you can so you can teach me. And she said, I think you have to go. You have to go. And my husband said the same thing. But he's like, oh, wait, it's in New Orleans. I'm going too. He was like my bodyguard. So our little country life, we've heard horror stories about New Orleans, which it was not bad at all. I loved it. So he went, and I paid for him a ticket to go to the conferences as well. And he was in shock. He's like, this is legit. This is real stuff. And it's for guys too. It's not just girly. So he's all in. He's a coach now, and he's done Body Beast. He's on his second or third round of it. He's done Court of Force and Shift Shop. So we're just making it a family affair. We love it.
And the thing, like, he couldn't believe that they were, like, all these people were so positive.
Yes.
He thought they were, like, fake at first. Like, is it possible that they could be this nice?
Yes. Well, you got to know, too, where he comes from. He's an assistant principal, so he does all the discipline. Mm-hmm. So it's not always a positive place where he's at. So he went there and was like, is this real? Are these people always this positive? And he loves that about it.
So you've been a coach now for almost a year, and recently—
No, you were fine, Elise. He loves you.
Oh. So you've been a coach for almost a year now, a little less than a year, but you recently decided to take it upon yourself to kind of reevaluate your social media a little bit. And so can you tell us a little bit about, like, why you felt the need to do that?
Yes, I had listened to a recorded call with Lindsay Matway, actually, and she had talked about evaluating herself, which made total sense to me, because as a teacher, we're constantly reevaluating. You want to stay up with the times, things like that. And when she put it in a format that just made sense. You are not just Beachbody. And I was like, yeah, that's true. I wasn't just Beachbody when I first started, and I'm not just Beachbody now. So people liked seeing, pictures of my children and farm life, things like that. So I took a step back and started reevaluating myself and what I was posting, because I also was noticing engagement was starting to go down. I mean, I know the whole algorithm had changed as well, but I thought, okay, how do I get these people that are already here back engaged with my post? Because, if you're posting the same thing every day, people are like, oh, there she is again, doing whatever it is she's doing. So my first thing that I did was take a step back and look at the things that describe me. So for me, it's my faith, my family, fitness, farming, and teaching. Those are 5 of the things that that are who I am and what I do. So am I posting about all those 5 things, or am I only posting about the fitness? Well, I kind of scrolled back. So go back to your Facebook and scroll through and see what are the things that I am posting. Am I only posting fitness? And I was looking at it, and that's what I was seeing. A lot of just fitness and a lot of just asking to challenge groups and things like that. So I took a step back, started posting again about my family and about my faith, and it started re-engaging people. And I also started talking about real life situations. For instance, like, having a hard time with one of my children, or something at school even, and post after comment after comment after comment started coming in, and I was like, wow. But it also made me real, because some of these people don't know you, and as you're adding more and more people, they think of you as an elusive person, I guess, and they're like, is this a real person? And you can become perfect on Facebook, and you don't want to do that, because then they don't engage with you as much. So if you are a real person and engaging, with real life stuff, you're going to get more comments. So for me, it was a lot of, I've noticed my feedback that I'm getting is on posts that do deal with raising children, or in the classroom, dealing with discipline type things, stuff like that. Obviously, I don't say any names or anything, but just life struggles, I guess you would say. Those are the ones that I'm getting a lot of feedback on. And then ones like, I listen to a lot of Focus on the Family. So I talk a lot about my personal development. So Focus on the Family, or even the personal development books that I'm reading. And I teach Leader in Me, so I can bring that back around with my classroom as well. So like right now I'm reading, I just went blank. Oh my goodness. Creating a story brand. So those different things can be brought back around with my Leader in Me. So I can do it twofold, like with Beachbody and with my Leader in Me stuff. So my parents that are on there can see both, and it's kind of teaching them as well. So same thing on my Instagram. So I have quite a few students that are on there too. So then they'll come back to school and they're like, hey, Miss Stokes, I saw your Instagram, and that's like Leader in Me because blah, blah, blah. So they're learning as well. Plus, they're going home and they're telling their parents, and then their parents are starting to follow me on Instagram. So I'm getting both. I have a student that just started last week, and I was really noticing her lunches, and I was like, man, your lunches are incredible. She goes, yeah, my mom just started 80-Day Obsession. And I was like, wow, really? So now her mom has been reaching out to me. She's under another coach, but still she's reaching out, and I'm super proud because I'm like, hey, it's expanding in our community. So this is great. So they're seeing, and it's encouraging others. Share your story often. Like my mom having the heart attack. Why did I get into health and fitness big time in my early 30s? And then sharing her part, and she'll comment on some of it, and she's telling people, yeah, jump in. Or I'm telling my story about how I was feeling just ran down and tired, and I wanted to take a nap. Like I cleaned my whole house and I was exhausted. That resonates with people because they're feeling the same way. If you were feeling that way, they're probably feeling that way. So share that. That also makes you more real. Also praise your team. Like when they've hit something, praise that. Lindsay Matway had talked about she'll only leave that up for a little while and then she'll take it down. But I've left them up because I want those to stay up and my team to be able to see that, hey, she is excited for me. Like I said, to go back to your last 10 posts and be looking at those. Make sure that you're constantly showing up too. If you're posting on Monday and then you post on Friday, that's not as much consistency, because sometimes like I may not see somebody's post if they only posted one time a week, just the way things have changed. So you've got to be showing up and be posting. And it also shows people that you're not a flash in the pan, that you're there. Like I have some, I just did the Sprint to Diamond last week. I have some that are showing up now that have been watching me since last May. And they're like, okay, she's seeing results and her other challengers are seeing results, and I want in. And they're coming to me saying, yeah, I've been wanting to do this, and I've been curious about it. My other thing is you've got to be communicating behind the scenes as well. Like if you're not messaging and you're not talking to them out in public, or when you see them at school or at church or wherever it is, then it's not going to be doing the same either. You're just throwing stuff out on Facebook and they're like, oh, yep, what is that all about? They want to be invited. People at church come up and they're like, hey, I was walking a mile yesterday. And I'm like, really? You ought to join our challenge group. And they're like, really? You think I could do it? Because they see what we're doing and they don't realize that there's stuff, even though you're posting about it, they don't realize that there's stuff for beginners. They don't realize there's something for every level. They have no idea we have over 600 workouts. Even though I've posted that 500 times, they may not have seen it. They don't know that. So you have to be communicating and talking to them about that. The other thing is we don't know. So we're seeing people at Walmart, or today I went and got my hair done by somebody that's never done my hair before. I had no idea we were Facebook friends. She's like, so what is it that you do? She said, I see it all the time. And I just rolled with it and pretended like I knew. And I was like, oh yeah. I said, I'm a Beachbody coach. And I was telling her everything that I did. And then I thought, oh man, I'm going to have to go back and look her up. I do not remember being friends with her. So you've got to be being friendly out in public too. Just assume that you're friends with all these people. That's what have just started doing. So when they ask us a question about our kids playing the piano or whatever it is, then we're like, oh, okay, we're friends on Facebook, and you're comfortable to be able to say, yeah, I've got this challenge getting ready to start. Come on in and join us. So it is one of those businesses we have to be willing to talk and communicate. Oh, and I think I hit everything that I planned on sharing.
That was awesome. I actually wrote a whole bunch of notes, dear. So, you know, that point you made about sharing your story often, I even had to revisit that this past month because I wasn't sharing parts of my story like I thought I had. Like, I wasn't sharing about hypothyroid. I wasn't sharing, like, there are some people who still don't know I have breast cancer. Like, it's crazy, but I guess we think that we share it all the time, but in reality, like, that's pretty, like, presumptuous of us, because like we're they don't have their eyes on our social media 24/7. So like the one time that we post about our story, it's not like they saw it that specific time, right. You know. And yeah. The one post I did sharing about my hypothyroid and struggling with that, like, really resonated with a lot of people who were also struggling with the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I love that, Launi. I'm still learning that myself. And the whole behind the scenes invite, I love that too, because I think that if we like assume everyone's going to gravitate toward us, it's kind of like, have you ever heard that like one of your friends is throwing a party and you weren't necessarily like given an invitation, but they were like, yeah, come on over. Like, you know, it's kind of like this all call to everyone. Well, you don't really feel personally invited unless like the host reaches out to you and says, hey, I'd really like for you to come. And then you feel like, oh, they really want me to be there. So I think sometimes if we rely on other people reaching out to us, it takes a lot of courage to do that. You know what I mean? Like people have to really feel very like empowered in order to reach out to us, I think. You know what I mean? Like that's hard for us to have that expectation on them. We should make it easy on them by just extending an invitation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So have you started using stories?
I have, yes.
What have you learned the most about stories over this past month? I'm throwing you a curveball. We're all learning.
Well, I am seeing a shift from Facebook to Instagram, and I do not have as large of a following on Instagram right now as I do Facebook, but a lot of my main people that have always interacted with me on Facebook, I feel like are shifting more to Instagram, and they'll watch stories more because they want to hear you talking and they want to see like action shots, what's going on. So I'm seeing that people are really liking that. And I've move them over to Facebook too, but not as many people are watching stories on Facebook. I don't feel like as they are on Instagram.
But the couple people, like I always reach out to the people who are watching stories and I say, hey, thanks for watching my stories. I really appreciate the support because I do, you know, like it's a crazy social media world that we live in sometimes. And I've always been surprised because they're like, are you kidding? They're so inspirational. And I'm like, they are.
I know. I'm thinking I'm boring. And yes, they're like, I love watching your stories every day.
I'm like, you like watching my coffee maker spit coffee into my coffee mug? Okay, but yeah. I don't know, strange world we live in. So Launi, tell me like what has Beachbody done for you in the past? I think it's been 9 months since you started coaching.
For me, I feel like it's given me inspiration again and a purpose again, where before not that teaching is not all of that, but I have been doing it for a while and I feel like I was starting to just kind of go through the motions because I was teaching the same thing every year with Beachbody and it's constantly changing. It doesn't give me time to get bored. So I feel like I have a purpose and I have a reason. Like I am not a morning person, guys. And I get up at 5 a.m. to work out and check in with my challengers. That's a miracle in itself.
Yeah, it is. Oh, that. I got it. I know I got to. It's coming. I can feel God like telling me, you've been resisting this morning routine for a long time and I'm about to wallop you. A good one. I'm like, oh. Well, I'm just so grateful for you. Does anyone have any questions for Launi or things that you want to share about like what you've been feeling or maybe you've been learning with social media? I'd love, like we have some extra time, so I'd love to just open it up and talk about it.
We forgot to talk about I didn't mention a call to action. Don't do a call to action like every single post.
Okay. So I think you broke up just when you said that. So what did you say?
So we looking through, make sure you're not doing a call to action post every single post because then it starts to look salesy.
Yeah. That's actually a really great point. Usually like 1 to 2 for every 10 posts max is a good indicator. So, and sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing a call to action because we'll do like something really subtle like join me or, you know, whatever. And like what we're doing is we're taking something that's adding value that we're sharing about our journey. And as soon as we say, you know, message me or join me or, you know, let me know if you want details, like that's a call to action. Mm-hmm. Anybody else want to share?
I'm finally understanding the whole like, you know, jab, and then the hook. So same thing without having the call to action every single time. So I think that's I think that's good because it helps me remember like story, and then call to action. So that's so good.
Yeah. There, for those who are like, what's a jab and what's a hook? So that Gary Vaynerchuk wrote a great book called Jab, Jab, Right. Is it 3 jabs or 2? Can't remember. Jab, jab, right hook. Jab, 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 right hook. I think it's 3 jabs. Anyway, is it 3? Delisa's like, it's 3. It's jab, 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 right hook. Gary Vaynerchuk is gonna like.
Not that I'm doing it correctly, but it's 3.
But basically a jab is anything that adds value. And a lot of people have a hard time realizing that your story adds value to the world. And so every little nuance, everything you've gone through, like why you are here, who you were before, like our life should be evolving. We should be different a year from now than we are today. And that happens through like personal development and continuing to evolve, right? And so anything that you're sharing as far as your story is concerned, that adds a ton of value to the world. You're blessing them with your story. And so a jab is anything that adds value. It could be a recipe, it could be your story, it could be something you learned. And a hook is something that is a call to action. So it's a great book to read if you haven't. But that was awesome, Michelle.
I have a question. So what is y'all's take on, like, let's say you're sitting here and you have a frustration in your day or your week and you're working through a frustration, like a repeated frustration, you know, because like I want to post about that. To me, that's real life.
A soapbox?
Yeah, but you don't want to come across as a soapbox or negative. So you want to add, you know, I can't just go find a book off my shelf really quick and fix that frustration. So how do you share that frustration? Because you know people are out there feeling the same thing, whether it be what's going on in our schools and I know you have to be careful about that, but things are going on in your life or with your family or your teens or your school or whatever so that you reach people, you share your story. How can you is there a way to roll that positive? You know what I mean?
Actually, I had that same question one day, and I asked Joy because I wasn't posting anything because I had a really bad day with my teenager, and it was just a horrible fight. And I'm gonna cry, but I was like, Joy, I can't do anything today. I'm not, I can't post. And she was just like, post a picture of you and your daughters and how like, fighting for that relationship and like, fighting for how important that relationship is with your kids. And, and so it was really powerful. It actually got a lot of, interaction. And the next day when I was actually out at work and teaching my classes, they were like, wow, that was just such a great post. And, like so many other people are feeling the same way. And, it was basically just about where I'm at in my life and the stage that I'm at and almost being an empty nester and then the kids leaving and just, that whole, yeah. So, but I got private messages. I got texts. I got, compliments or just interaction the next day at work. And that was the day that I didn't want to post anything. I wanted to step away. I wanted to like just go in the fetal position, hide. I didn't want anything to do with it. So I reached out to Joy and I said like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And so she helped me. So I'm sure she could answer this question for you better than I could, Delise, but
no, that's good. That's good. So
turn it around and it's just like the most powerful of all of your posts.
Yeah. I think we get in soapbox moments because there's something at the root that really breaks our heart, So like in Michelle's case, she had a big blow up argument with her daughter, which absolutely, broke her in two, right? But and she's going crazy over this idea that her daughter is upset at her and all this stuff. But at the root, it's like, she never is going to stop fighting for the heart of her kids, no matter how hard it gets. So I think you have to ask yourself, like, she wouldn't go on there and say, I'm so ticked off at my daughter. I can't believe she'd say XYZ to me. Like, that doesn't serve a purpose. Like, kids are so disrespectful these days. That doesn't serve a purpose, although that's a great vent. But, you know what I mean? Like, And Launi did the same thing when she was talking about that one post that resonated so well. You were talking about a discipline issue with one of your kids, and you kept it anonymous, although I could tell who it was. And you tried. But it was such a beautiful teaching moment, you know, where it's like, hey, like sometimes as parents we have to do hard things. And in Michelle's case, it was like, hey, sometimes as parents we have to, you know, fight for the heart of our kids, you know.
And it's adding value when you do that. Plus, you're being real. People are seeing, oh, she doesn't have a perfect family.
Yeah. So Michelle, did you name?
So like change it to a teachable moment, maybe.
Your audio is like broken up. Anyway, Delise, what were you gonna say?
Michelle, did you like name it and call it?
Absolutely not. And that's the beauty of it is just like you were saying, you don't go on there and say like my kid this, my kid that, she did this, pissed, and like, oh my gosh, you know. It was just basically I think it's still on there even, and I can send it to you, but it was just like I can't even really remember, but it was
I don't mean naming the problem, but I mean like naming, you didn't like name the person.
I didn't name the person. It was me in a picture with both of my girls, and I went in just a really positive way, like these two you know, relationships, you know, with my daughters are worth fighting for no matter what, even, you know, on a good day, on a bad day, through you know, the fights and the tears. It doesn't matter. It's still worth fighting for today. Something like that. I didn't name anything.
Right.
There have been moments where I've gotten on a soapbox about, you know, like things that you can get on a soapbox about, I think, or have an opinion on without wounding, like seeking to educate, not wound.
Yeah.
You know, when like any objection you get, you know, people saying they don't have time. Why does that upset us? Because we're all busy people and we all make time, and we make time for the things that we value, right? Like that's a post that adds value, because basically you're challenging people's thinking. Or, you know, husbands that tell wives, no. I mean, that drives me crazy. It's like, why would you give anyone permission to have a say over what you do to take care of your body? Like, that just drives me absolutely, not to mention, like, if a, you know, wife is coming to their husband saying, hey, I want to get sexy strong. And the husband's like, no. I mean, like, what? Who does that?
Yeah.
But we allow it.
I was going to say we allow it. So it's really 50-50. Yes, he shouldn't be doing that, but we're also allowing it. All of us probably in this talk have kind of allowed that at one time or another, and then we smarten up, you know.
So those kind of things I have gotten on soapboxes before.
Yeah.
But I think you just have to ask yourself, like, why does that break your heart? And, you know, and then at the end of the day, the filter I use, or I try to use, I'm not perfect, is like, what does love require of me? That's the filter I try to use on everything, you know? So like when I posted about pruning the friendship tree, right? Like the people who don't support you, if you went online and you researched like what people suggest you do when you have to cut ties with toxic people, it's like, remove them from your address list and never talk to them again. And like, they're dead to you. And I'm like, that's horrible. You know, like, I mean, there are people who haven't been super supportive, but I still love them, you know, like so what does love require of me? Well, love requires that they may not be in the inner circle. They might have to be on the outer circle, but certainly doesn't require me to like remove them from the face of the earth. So anyway,
Right. Okay, that's helpful.
So,
That's helpful.
anybody else?
I have a question as we start getting into Instagram, because obviously I'm one of those people that had never used it before. I apparently had an Instagram account. I didn't even know I had it when I first posted a few things. I was like, oh, it's already set up. Wow, where did this come from? But as you get people responding, liking your pictures and stuff, or commenting on them, like I've had a couple of people that I don't know, they obviously just found my picture through a hashtag or something. How are you connecting with them at that point?
So I typically, if I'm just connecting with somebody who liked my stuff, there's a bug in my office. Then I'll just say, hey, thank you for the support, on my posts. I'll share a little bit about my story and, try to get to know them a little bit. I'm really bad at reaching out to people who like or comment on my Instagram stuff. I'll be perfectly honest. I need to get better at that. What I have used Instagram for is I will search out hashtags that I'm passionate about. And I take the Bunny Ingle approach that she talked about at New Leader Conference. I don't know if you saw that video. But I'll just kind of browse the hashtag and, try to find someone who catches my eye because they've got that positive vibe about them. And I'll look at their Instagram page and I'll like 5 photos, comment on 3, friend request, or follow them and then send them a message, which basically says something like, hey girl, you probably have seen that I commented on a couple of your photos today. I found you because I'm, mama boys too. You are super inspiring. Are you a coach too? So it's kind of like curiosity the opposite way, right? And so they're I'll get these no, I'm not a coach. I'm just a mom, who loves to work out or whatever. And I'll be like, really? You'd make a great one. That's why I thought you already were. I don't know if you know about what we do, 21 Day Fix, Insanity Max, 30, whatever. But I'd love to, if you've ever wanted information, I'm hosting a group about it. I'd love to get you connected. Would you like to join us? And I've actually had people who have joined our sneak peeks that way. So you can kind of, again, instead of waiting for people to come to you, you can go find the people that you want on your team.
Okay.
So, all righty. Anybody else? Kristen, I'm sorry your mic doesn't work. If you had a question, you could type it in the chat. Got to replace that computer. All right. Well, I love you guys. Keep rocking it. Thank you, Launi, so much. That was so very helpful, and I'm very proud of you for sharing tonight. And we will see everyone on the call on April 3rd with Alana. That'll be super fun. All right, you guys? Bye.
All right, bye. Thanks.